I find it so difficult to put into words what it means to me to have this ancestry. My name is Nettie Washington Douglas, and I have the honor and the privilege of being the great-granddaughter of Booker T. Washington and the great-great-granddaughter of Frederick Douglass. This is my son, my oldest, my firstborn, Kenneth B. Morris, Jr.
And I am the great-great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass and the great-great-grandson of Booker T. Washington, and your son. Oh, wow.
The missing portrait was done by my grandfather. See my grandfather's name, the favorite grandson? Joe Douglas, artist.
So where have you been keeping this?
In the box.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Under the bed. My mother was Booker Washington's granddaughter. My father was Frederick Douglass's great-grandson. And they met and married at Tuskegee. And it was truly a by-accident meeting. I can't say exactly when somebody told me. I don't remember my mother or my grandmother sitting me down and telling me that I had this outstanding heritage. I just know that I've always known, and I'm just beyond words of how pleased I am that my mom and dad met.
I was very pleased to open an email from Newsweek asking my mom and me if we would participate in a project that they were putting together for the inauguration, the eve of the inauguration. And they asked us if we would write letters to our ancestors, basically telling them what happened and what has happened since they lived their lives on this earth, and where we are in the country today with the first African-American person being president of the United States.
Do you mind just holding the letter up and showing me?
Dear great-great-great-grandfather, I have thought more than once about composing a letter to you. There are so many questions I have, but on the occasion...
It wasn't until I had my children, really, that I really became interested in learning about them on my own.
I was raised away from your far-reaching shadow by design, as my mother and grandmother were determined to diminish the weight of my lineage. Therefore,
we didn't talk about it much at home. My mother didn't, because she was trying so hard to not, as she said to me once, give me the double burden. And I say burden because my father, who was his great-grandson, had a very, very difficult time trying to live up to the image of Frederick Douglass because so much pressure was put on him by his family. And as a result, my dad committed suicide before I was born. I did not know him. So that is the reason that it was kind of downplayed as I was coming along.
Therefore, you lived in my heart not as a mentor, but as an eccentric spirit from the past with a fiery gaze.
Now that was on my mother, on my mother's side. When I spent my summers with my grandmother Douglas, Fanny Douglas, who married Joseph, that's all I got. Constantly, I was being told stories, I was being shown pictures. I had the good fortune, happiest times of my life were spent spending my summers in Frederick Douglass's summer home. I think he touches me, really touches me in a place that perhaps Booker Washington doesn't, because Frederick Douglass grew up alone. And his mother worked 12 miles from where he lived with his grandmother on a separate plantation. And she would walk 12 miles to spend a few minutes with him before she had to walk 12 miles back to her plantation to be out in the fields by sunup. And she died when he was about 6. And I don't think, it's my understanding, that he wasn't even told that his mother had passed for about a year.
You turned the blind into witness and gave a voice to victims that had none. You offered African-American men a chance to fight for their own freedom on the battleground while you lobbied for it in the White House.
Saying all that to say that I think the maternal instinct in me just so goes to him because he grew up without a family. And I guess much too because I grew up without a father, and I can identify on that part. Unlike Booker Washington, who knew his family.
Now I'm learning more about what was behind that gaze, and unexpectedly find myself fixed on the same objectives as you. In your name,
Well,
I am determined to bring light to the dark pursuits
people
of those
probably think that I'm a little nutty, but I won't say daily, but several times a week, I just have a little conversation with him. And also, I know I strongly believe that he's one of my guardian angels.
But on the occasion of the inauguration of America's first black president, what I'd like to know most is this: what makes a great leader? From a very young age, you understood.
I did early voting here in Atlanta, and I chose to walk a few blocks because it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And as I was walking, it was a very emotional time, realizing what I was about to do. So again, I said to Frederick Douglass, what I was doing, I said, I'm taking this walk. I'm on my way to vote. It's a very historic day. I'm about to vote for the first black candidate for president, and I'd like you to come with me. I would like you to, I would like you to be with me as I make this historic vote. And so as I was putting my finger on the screen, it was a touch screen, and as I put my finger on Barack Obama's name, I very strongly felt that his finger was with me. And I said, this is what you gave your life for. And here we are today, realizing one of your dreams. It was an unbelievable experience. And without a doubt, I know he was there. And I know he is so proud of what's going to take place on January 20th. And had it been a different time, I'm equally sure that he would have been the president.
Perhaps at no time in our history since the Civil War are we more in need of a great leader than now. Barack Obama appears prepared to meet these challenges. But how would you advise a young president taking office with so much at stake? I believe you would recommend that he guide with integrity.
If I
so Americans can believe
had a conversation with Frederick Douglass about this historic event that's going to take place on January the 20th, I would want him to know that the person who is going to be taking this highest office in the world is very much like himself.
I believe you would recommend that he guide with integrity so Americans can believe in their leader, that he place the highest value on inclusiveness so we can depend on each other, that he communicates so we can understand his decisions.
I describe him as the chosen one. Just like Frederick Douglass, the chosen one, Booker Washington, the chosen one, and others. I don't know why they're chosen, but they are, and I look at him as the chosen one from God.
I am proud of you for all you have done for our family and for this great country. Thank you on my behalf and that of thousands of others who have tried to follow your examples of great leadership over generations past. With all my love, Kenny.
I go to schools and I see our young children in broken homes and not the best of situations. And we can talk about what Frederick Douglass did and what Booker Washington did, but now they're going to be able to witness it. They'll be able to witness it. It's one thing to read about it; it's another thing to see it. And I think it's going to be. I know it's going to be a wonderful time ahead.